The next thinker I would like to discuss in this long line of esoteric biopolitics and the construction of the Malthusian eugenics religion of the New World Order would be Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. And I'd like to read a little bit from The Phenomenon of Man, 1955. So he's following on the heels of Huxley, Bertrand Russell, and we just talked about Charles Galton Darwin. So, all writing there exposing so much in the 1950s. And again, they're all revealing the central seven tenets that we talked about of Hermetic Kabbalism. One of them, that there need to be this world system in a world mind that would create a class of people from cradle to grave who would serve the state in order to have their consciousness as part of a beehive to be trained upon um, a certain image, perhaps, but it has to do with the final singularity or their eschatological final point. And Teilhard is going to speak about that. So let's get his take on it. A lot of people call him the father of the internet because he would find his escalate. He's a paleontologist, a Jesuit, and so he would see the world moving in mid 20th century toward this singularity, this omega point, this blob of love that he would call it. But let's read a little bit about him and how he connects to the ideas of Huxley and Russell and Charles Galton Darwin from The Phenomenon of Man in 1955. Teilhard views evolution as a process that leads to increasing complexity. So, of course, he is big on evolution himself. As a paleontologist, he'd look through the layers and think of the millions and millions of years, and also be thinking, like Charles Galton Darwin, how could we kind of interject ourselves into this process of evolution to change the course of humanity? From the cell to the thinking animal, a process of the emergence of Homo sapien marks the beginning of a new age. So I guess as a Catholic priest and a Jesuit, he's not big on the biblical story of creation, kind of following, I guess, his narrative more in line with the Kabbalistic traditions of the origin of man that fits into this creation of Homo sapiens from a long, millions of years. The emergence of Homo sapiens marks the beginning of a new age, as the power acquired by consciousness to turn itself upon itself raises mankind to a new sphere. Borrowing Huxley's expression, Teilhard describes humankind as evolution becoming conscious of itself. Very Kabbalistic. And who are the master class that's going to train that consciousness for this eschatological epoch? In Teilhard's view, evolution will culminate in the omega point, a sort of supreme consciousness. Layers of consciousness will converge in omega. He's also kind of considered the father not only of the internet, but this idea of the singularity, fusing and consuming them in itself. The concentration of a conscious universe will reassemble in itself all consciousness as well as all that we are conscious of. Teilhard emphasizes that each individual facet of consciousness will remain conscious of itself at the end of the process. So the individual has to give itself over entirely um, to the dictates of the world dictatorship, but at the same, but be part of the beehive, but somehow still be conscious of itself. It's probably becoming almost entirely dehumanized, so you use the word itself.